Okay, everyone, let's get started. Thank you for all making it early so we can all go down the hill for the ceremony that starts at 7:15. So if you would all stand. And Stacy, will you lead us in a pledge?
Happily.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, our meeting tonight is dedicated to the memory of the first responders and all of the civilians who died 24 years ago on the worst attack that certainly in my lifetime that this country has ever suffered. I hope we all can make it down the hill for the ceremony. The names of the fallen played all day down at the bottom of the hill. And I would just like to ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Rita.
Wendy Burden.
Here.
Julia Dakota.
Here.
Eric Haynes.
Present.
Nathan LaBerge is absent. Teddy Secor.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll do the town board liaison reports, and I will also ask Chris Drago to give us a report from the county. But Teddy?
Yes, so last night was the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The following public hearings and variances were granted for the following properties: 6498 Route 82, 758 Huns Lake Road, 369 Pugsley Hill, and 27 Barton Lane. There was discussion about an area variance for 313 Jameson Hill Road, but not enough information was known about what the project entailed, so it was sent back to the planning board for clarification on the matter. So that will be introduced next month, and if all goes well, there will be a public hearing for that property specifically in November. The Haunted Fortress season is upon us, so if you can offer any time for any of these Sundays coming up until it opens in October. So we'll be at the Haunted Fortress from 10 to 3 p.m. every Sunday for September. If you can paint, if you can hang things, if you can decorate, whatever, it just needs to be done. And it's going to be great.
What's the actual opening night?
That's the first Friday in October.
Is that the 5th?
That'd be the 3rd.
October 3rd?
October 3rd. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in October. The last weekend, though, the very last Friday, that is not open. That'd be Halloween, October 31st. So it's not open on Halloween.
When are the sensory-friendly ones? On what day?
On Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, from like 2 to 4. I forget which day.
We'll announce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those will be hammered out. And the final thing is the Climate Smart Communities Task Force.
Before we get to that, I just wanted to ask, do you know if they filled all of the slots for the ticket booth?
I believe we are still looking for people. I would have to check with Lauren if that's been filled.
Could you let me know? Because
Yeah.
Rita and I were unsure if it was done.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, and then climate smart.
We're having our next meeting next Monday night. So last month was a catch-up meeting that I was unable to attend because we had our meeting, so, but that, as far as I'm aware, no business was actually discussed, or no pertinent information was discussed.
Okey dokey, thank you. Eric was not at the planning board meeting. It seemed like we had a plethora of public hearings, but actually we only had two. There was a building envelope modification on the Dillinger property and Partridge Creek Estates, and then there was a lot of discussion on the minor subdivision at the Sisters of Hill, Sister Hill, the farm, and the two properties. The building envelope was passed. The minor subdivision for the Sisters of Charity, it's still, the planning board was able to pass the, oh God, I'm having a senior moment here, the site plan, but they couldn't sign off on the plat until the Board of Health signs off. And the petitioners believe that, were told by the Board of Health that they couldn't sign off until the planning board had signed off, so we were busy consulting lawyers to get straight, but they did sign off and hopefully have been able to move forward with the Board of Health. Lot line alteration for the Eisens, and also Ben Rathjen got his site plan and special use permit approved for the property next to the fire company, but I think there were 11 stipulations that still needed to be met. So that was that, and that's that.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
CAC. I'll keep it brief because it's on the agenda tonight, but there was some discussion about the NRI and feedback that had been received to date. Minimal feedback from the community, actually no feedback from the community, except for adding a introduction and an executive summary, which was a recommendation from the Dutchess County Planning Board. All of that is in order. For also discussion was Community Day and activities for Community Day, which would include the Dark Sky Initiative and education around monarch butterflies. There will also be children's activities and 2 raffles for a hummingbird feeder and bat houses. And then finally, there was some discussion about the Buttercup Sanctuary and maintenance of the park. It was indicated that the Mosiers would be maintaining Buttercup, and they will be.
I mean, they got the contract.
They got the contract. They got the contract for maintenance of the park. Yes. And then there was just some discussion around just funding sources and where that would come from. So Audubon Society funds that. There's a small foundation disbursement, and then there was some additional discussion around grants and fundraising, but no details yet in order to sort of maintain Buttercup. And that was it.
Okay. Let's see, the zoning commission, we had all 2 hours devoted to meeting with Nina Peak, who's our zoning consultant. Julia and I went to the dinner of the supervisors and mayors, Dutchess County supervisors and mayors, and there were 2 speakers there. Ron, oh my God, I really am having a senior moment.
Well, Ron Hicks did
Ron Hicks spoke, and then there was another gentleman named Philip Scarona, whose job is basically to be a matchmaker in Dutchess County where there are empty businesses and matching them with businesses that want to come in to a community. They've done a lot of work in Fishkill, East Fishkill. So we have approached him. All of us would like to have a small supermarket. It's been a wish. For me, it's been since Elvin's went out of business. But in any case, that was the big ask Julie and I were talking about. And we have set up a preliminary meeting with him in early October. and there are several properties we will discuss. And if anyone else knows of a commercial property that is empty where they would like to have a business, please let us know, because he may be able to create partnerships for us. The fire commissioners are working on their 2026 budget, as am I. And that budget, the tentative budget, will be presented to Rita by September 24th, and then it gets presented to us, and then we will have our 3 budget workshops in October. As you know, we have to pass the budget before the election, so we're on a bit of a compressed schedule. And I will have a budget modification resolution tonight to do some adjusting on budget lines for 2025. So with that, I'd like to open up the privilege of the floor. If you have something you'd like to address concerning the town, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and please speak for 3 minutes.
Don't forget Chris Drago.
Oh, Chris, I'm sorry. First, yeah. And I'd like to introduce Chris Drago, our county legislator, who's giving us a report from the county.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Hi,
Sorry,
everyone.
Chris.
That's okay. Hi. I'm Chris Drago. I'm your county legislator, and I want to give an update based on recent meetings with the county. Usually like the first Thursday of the month, we meet in committee down in Poughkeepsie, and then I'm on the public safety and the mental health committees, and then the following Monday or Tuesday we meet as a full board to vote on what we decide and vote on in committee. So I would say the big news this past month, so we met last Thursday and then this past Monday, is that we now have a new Commissioner of Emergency Response. After Dana Smith stepped down about almost a year ago now, there had been an opening. We have had an acting Commissioner of Emergency Response, William Beal, and there were 2 rounds of sort of interview process to find our commissioner. William Beal ended up applying during the 2nd round, the acting commissioner, and then we appointed him full-time commissioner this past Monday. I think many of you likely know William Beal. He is very accomplished. His expertise in emergency response is deep. The amount of detail he knows is incredible. I was with him at a meeting at the Stanford Fire Hall a couple months ago, where there was a regional meeting of the different fire departments in the area talking about the status of supplemental EMS service, which is something we found $2 million to fund this year, to have supplemental fly cars in different parts of the county, just to provide an extra service so that we can get help faster, knowing that we frankly are in an emergency response crisis in Dutchess County, and we want to make sure people get to the hospital as fast as they can. So we appointed William Beal, and prior to his appointment, he and I spoke of some of the challenges that we still have in northern Dutchess County in terms of response times. So we have 2 quarters worth of data that we're looking at now, including supplemental and the impact that that's having. And it's still, in our part of the county, still taking above benchmark. The benchmark is 9 minutes to get someone, get a fly car to them, and at times it's just going above that. And what we've noticed is fly cars aren't necessarily servicing our part of the county as much as they could. You might notice at Washington Hollow, there's an Empress fly car stationed quite, a lot of the time. And so it looks like, just based on the data, that those fly cars are servicing the middle and the southern parts of the county, not so much our part of the county. So this is something I've been talking about for a while, since we had even the first quarter's worth of data. The good news, and a step in the right direction, is that William Beal, even prior to his appointment, and based on this feedback, has made some changes. So supplemental will now go out after 5 minutes, after a call goes out, and after 5 minutes, rather than I think 8 or 9 minutes. So that now means that we, especially in our part of the county, could get that supplemental service faster, rather than waiting a little bit too long. There's another update coming out October 1st, which I hope will also help us, at least for the supplemental part. I continue to advocate for a longer-term solution. This is a stopgap measure, a Band-Aid solution, and I truly believe we need a long-term solution that is going to provide affordable care, reliable care, and quick care in the area of emergency services, before anything else. So we're going into budget season. Our budgets get finalized after the election, but we have a budget process that starts before that. And so I continue to advocate to make sure that, that William Beal is set up for success going into next year, and that he has what he needs to have that full-time, that longer-term plan rather than the supplemental plan. With that, I look forward to attending Stanford Community Day on Saturday. Looks like it'll be a nice day. I will be there and look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. Thank you.
That actually reminds me that Northern Duchess ambulance paramedics has been eaten up by Empress. So, and our contract, of course, has been with Northern Duchess paramedics. We were told by Northern Duchess that Empress is going to honor our contract, but we'll hope that that's the case. I'm about to sign the consent, not that we have a choice. They're about the only game in town, in the county now. So stay tuned for that. We're proceeding as if, and the good news is for this year, we are covering the ambulance, the whole cost of the ambulance for the year through the donation that we were given earlier this year. And that's $750,000. We pay $62,500 a month for ambulance service for this town. So that was just, I had forgotten to say that. Thank you, Chris. So with that, I open up privilege of the floor, and please come up and speak if you have something to say. Yes, Mark.
3 minutes still.
3 minutes.
Mark Burdick, 19 Burdick Way, Stanfordville. I have questions on the natural resource inventory. So which you're attending to adopt that tonight?
Yeah, we've had public hearings. Yeah, it'll be adopted.
The question I have is, so I see the inventory there, but there's a lot of recommendations. So are you adopting those recommendations? There's recommendations mixed in with the inventory. So, there's things like 6,500 foot buffers around button bush pools, 3,300 foot buffers around the bog lake. These huge buffer zones. Are you considering those, or what's?
Curtis, do you want to say something?
So, Mark, the recommendations that you're referring to, I believe those are in the appendices.
What they're mentioned in the inventory, right?
And so what they are is, as part of this whole project, Hudsonia was brought in to update their habitats report that they did in 2005. And as part of that also, because it was reflected in that report in 2005, they relooked at what they called, I think, significant conservation areas or something to that effect. It's their term. And those are somewhat overlapping and tied with the critical environmental areas. And as part of that report, Hudsonia made their own recommendations about if the town should choose at some point to consider, changing the scope of the CEAs. This is what their recommendations were. So actually, a lot of their conclusions were that the CEAs were the way they're set out now, that they're adequate because of the conservation easements that generally surround many of the CEAs. But they did come up with these other recommendations about these buffers around buttonbush pools, etc. But it's not part of the natural resources inventory that, for example, the CAC is not recommending to the town to at any point in time pursue those recommendations of Hudsonia. That's only Hudsonia's opinion. So it's something that the town could choose to look at some point, but I'm not aware of the town, even for a second thinking about diving into those recommendations.
No, and if I may, Mark, part of, Janet had attended a CAC roundtable in Dutchess County, and actually, in fact, after the NRI is passed, Janet will present to the town board how they recommend the NRI be used by the zoning commission, by the planning board, by the zoning board of appeals, and by the town board as it pertains to next steps or how other towns have done it. But there's nothing binding in that document in terms of this is going to go in place. Because all of that has to be passed
I
through
would think
the appropriate
it's
channels.
sort of confusing to me when you read this.
I could see that.
Yes.
So I would think you'd want to have your, whatever your resolution or whatever, maybe perhaps say, you're not considering these recommendations, the board shouldn't consider the recommendations, so.
And the resolution, which I'll be reading through later, it doesn't say anything about adopting the recommendations of Hudsonia. And it just says how it's used. It's an inventory to be used as a tool by the town and its boards and its community when they're looking at, land and trying to understand the natural characteristics of.
I understand, but it doesn't seem to say that in here. I mean, if you're going to having somebody go to the planning board and they look at that and say, I mean, they're recommending buffers over a mile in diameter or in radius.
Right.
So it's huge. I mean, if you look at the map, it takes most of the town if you overlap all those recommendations.
Yeah, I think the way that I interpreted it, and there's nothing in there that when the
It's
board
binding.
passes it, that's, like I said, is binding, but the way I interpret it is to Curtis's point, they're saying, this would be ideal, right? And, you have to balance the ideal with what's realistic, what's sustainable, what, is consensus. So in no way, shape, or form is that binding, but those are sort of the recommendations.
It wouldn't hurt to have it mentioned in there that the recommendations
Yeah.
aren't binding.
Thank you, Mark. Oh, yeah, well, right, Rita can reflect that in the minutes.
In the resolution or whatever it is?
Well, just
If you want me to.
yeah, I mean, she can put the resolution in and reflect that there is nothing binding and that there have been no recommendations from the CAC to take up any of Hudsonia's recommendations.
So an addendum.
resolution or just a note?
Well, we'd have to amend the resolution, which is already written to be accepted tonight. We could. Curtis has my copy of it. Curtis is amending it as we speak.
Curtis is here.
Right, and Curtis is a lawyer. So yes, you're right, and he will do. Anyone else? Yes, Frank.
Hi, my name is Frank Marston from Creamy Road. I'll make it short and sweet. The board professes there's no hate here, except you seem to choose and pick who you can hate. I've seen some of the Facebook posts. They are vile when you use the terms Nazi, fascist, Hitler. My mother was a Holocaust survivor. I find it very offensive, and we all need to work together. So I want to dial everything down. The rhetoric led to Charlie Kirk's death, and that's what I believe. So I want us to all work together peacefully, and there's no room for vile rhetoric. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. Michael Roach, Soul Point Turnpike. I'd like to follow up on Mark's comment there about the CAC, and my particular question is, will the critical environmental area be expanded to Upton Lake? And if so, why? If maybe the CAC could
I'm
advise.
I'm the liaison, but
The liaison?
There are no plans whatsoever.
The the critical environmental areas, unless I'm misremembering, Upton Lake was not even part of Hudsonia like the recommendations.
No.
Although I could
It was hard to understand that at your briefing back in June, I think it was, which was very impressive, but I did think I saw that. So could we have a resolution that Upton Lake is not included in the environmental area?
It's not included in the even in the comprehensive plan. We're not adding, we have no,
Eric, comment?
excuse me.
No comment?
Okay, this is my time. With regard to Spark Park, thank you. There was a $240,000 grant,
274.
270. Has the town received that grant?
Not yet.
We're getting the money from the state, and it comes when it comes.
So how has the improvements been paid for?
We donated, we had donations.
How much?
We raised over $500,000, actually probably closer to the tune of $1 million combined with in-kind labor.
So we're still waiting on the grants, though.
We're
well,
waiting
it's
to be
fully
paid
for.
by the state.
Yeah, it's already been paid for with donations, but what the grant program does, it's a reimbursement from the state. So we've paid
Okay.
for it in advance, we've paid for the materials, and then the state reimburses us for $274,000, which we can put towards further capital improvements.
Thank you. My apologies for being, if I came off as rude, but last time I was 3-minute ruled. So
We're
you'll
still
understand, I
ready.
just wanted my time.
When you're being answered, by the way, I do pause the timer, so you still have, 2 minutes 24 if you want to go.
You're so fair. I'll give that to the next person if they'd like.
Devo?
I yield my time to Devo.
Devo can have his own time.
Ivo Martini, Shelly Hill Road. You know, we're on the subject of hate. I used to see signs, hate has no home here. Remember a couple of years ago, we'd see them all over the place? Well, on the subject of hate that Frank mentioned, what I noticed every election season is Republican lawn signs either disappear or they're damaged. So since you guys are all Democrats, and I know you're.
I'm not.
I know, well, you're not?
No, I'm an
He's
independent.
saying that, but everybody keeps
saying
still
it.
assuming he is.
Go online and check.
So 3 people here were probably good with, I don't know, Facebook and some other ways of communications. Maybe you could put the word out to whoever needs to hear it, to stop the juvenile behavior.
I couldn't agree more, Devo. I was thinking about that today driving into town because it's not just Republican signs that get stolen, it's Democratic signs as well. We even had footage of that happening 2 years ago with a
Really?
member. Well,
And it's
yes.
not a good look for the town board.
No, the town board has nothing to do with
But
it.
it's not a good look.
It's not a good look for the town. We can't control what people in this town do. And I was thinking, as I was driving to work, gee, I guess I could put something in the newsletter, but the people who are taking down signs are not reading Facebook, and they're not reading my newsletter. They're independent, bad actors, and it would make more sense if each of the political groups made announcements to their constituency, just asking them and to tell their children and to tell whoever we think might be doing this stuff to stop. But but it's something we can't legislate.
No, you can't legislate, I understand that.
And there's, I'm afraid that this is like an ongoing
Problem.
issue that's not going to go away unless people who are not us.
No, unless people behave themselves.
Right, and
And
you
don't
know,
behave like juvenile delinquents.
absolutely.
And what I see are Republican signs disappearing, including my own.
Well, we've been
So-
on,
so, no, no,
Divas,
no.
trust me, it's across the board, it's not just Republican
Since
signs.
I know where your signs are, in my immediate area, they're always there. I wouldn't bother them, and I don't think anybody else does, because it's still there. So it seems to be a one-sided issue.
I think
But
your point
then
on
again,
it.
you guys are good with Facebook and all other communication ways, so just put something out. Their behavior, not only that, it's also against the law.
Well, Stacy, you remember us talking in the last election cycle, our signs were disappearing, your signs were disappearing. You're right, we can put up with whatever we want saying, please don't steal our signs, but I still believe that the bad actors are not reading those messages.
Okay, but you still are in a position to put communications out for the town, and you should do
I'm
it.
happy to.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Devo.
Let's do it. If you sign this, then we'll replace it.
Anyone else? Okay, then. I'd like to move to close the privilege of the Lord, or I don't need to move it, I'm just going to close it. Well, I think that the first item of new business for many of us is an extremely happy moment. And I hope Gary is watching this. I think he is. This process began several years ago, and it was Gary Levitt who wrote the grant to get us started on this process, and I have to take my hat off to Curtis, who was put in the position of trying to keep this train on the track and bring in people to cooperate and help us with it, and you did a marvelous, marvelous job, as did your whole CAC. The depth of this work is truly astonishing, and it was long overdue, and I just can't thank all of you enough for getting it over the finish line. And I would request that you read the resolution, is the newly amended resolution?
Yes.
How fortuitous that I gave you my resolution.
Do I need to run the amendment by you, or how should we do this?
You can read it.
Okay.
Well, you want to read the amendment?
Yeah, so I'm adding, be it further resolved. Be it further resolved, and well, first of all, Mark, you make a very good point, because that Sonia, when they were retained to update the 2005 report, part of that retainer or mission was that was worked on by Gary Levitt, was to also update, review the critical environmental areas and see if they had anything new to say about that. And so that was those two reports, or I believe what you're referring to, that referred to the buffers, and I did look at the reports of the appendices really quickly, and yeah, they have these huge buffers around certain, sensitive environmental habitats. But we have no intention of pursuing any of that at this time. It's just out there. That's their recommendations, if ever, and when the town decides to take it up. So I'm adding be it further resolved. It is not at this time the intent of the town board, and nor has the CAC recommended to adopt any recommendations by Hudsonia contained in Appendix 1 Significant Habitats Report 2024 Update, or Appendix 2 Recommendations for Possible Revisions to CEA's Town Standards. So we'll get that. And I put at this time because I don't, I can't say it's going to happen 5-10 years from now. So. Before I read the resolution, I'd like to thank everyone for your input and support. And Julia, you didn't give yourself enough credit. You read through this whole thing, and you did provide really good feedback, because it was written, much of it by Cary Institute scientists. And so sometimes they, don't take it down to the level explaining a lot of the terms that they use, and so you pointed that out, and so we got those changes in there. And then also subsequent to the CAC meeting, we did get a review by the DEC, and they provided some good feedback as well. So
Julia reads everything.
So the June draft was good, but the final product is even better. So, and here's the cover, by the way. I'm kind of proud of my graphic design skills. I don't really have any. And what I'm going to do after the meeting is the CAC has a section of the bulletin board out front, and I'm going to hang this there, and there's a QR code. So whoever wants to pull this off of the website, the PDF version, they can do that. It'll eventually have a permanent home on the town's website on the CAC webpage, but that'll take a week or so to get in place. So in the meantime, we have this QR code.
Great.
So,
May I just say something real quick? As someone who observed this process, who wasn't a biologist, who wasn't in it, it was just really like a sight to see. So I appreciate you taking me on the ride with you, because I really looked at it from sort of just open eyes, and learning about the community to the extent of the detail in there has given me such a newfound appreciation for this community that we live in. And thank you for bringing it to life in a really open way too, because this is the first time that this has been updated. When was the last time it was updated?
like the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
The 80s.
So it's an incredible amount of time that has passed since this has been updated. So it's really,
Well, like the comprehensive plan.
and the changes between, because it does reference changes from the 80s.
The 2005 report to
Yeah,
the,
so it's super
the
interesting.
Habitats report. which
If you
is
haven't read it,
2005.
like, mark it up like Mark Burdick did, because I was literally there with like a highlighter being like, this is so cool. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and it tells an interesting story, a lot of it, about, how the land was used over time, from time of the Native Americans to when the settlers came in and the Erie Canal was
And the trees.
built, and how the trees, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. It's not just dry inventory, so. And one other point. So I did look in the appendices, and Huns Lake is nowhere mentioned as.
No, Upton Lake was just.
Upton Lake, sorry.
No, it's
Upton
not.
Lake is not mentioned as a possibility for a
It's
CPA.
not in the comprehensive plan, so.
Right. Okay, so.
Okay.
Just starting at the whereas clauses. Whereas the town of Stanford, through its Conservation Advisory Commission, has completed the development of a natural resources inventory, which is a systematic and comprehensive assessment of the various natural resources within the town, compiling accurate, up-to-date information concerning the location, condition, and significance of resources such as streams, wetlands, forests, soils, geology, aquifers, habitats, wildlife, farmland, open spaces, and conservation land. And whereas the purpose of the NRI is to assist the town, its boards, commissions, agencies, and the public in identifying and considering important natural resources when making land use, zoning, and conservation decisions. And whereas the NRI is also intended as an educational resource for residents and landowners, providing accessible information about and encouraging stewardship of the town's natural resources. And whereas the NRI was funded in part by a grant from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and prepared by the Conservation Advisory Commission with the assistance of DEC's Hudson River Estuary Program, Cornell Cooperative Extension, Dutchess County, and Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, together with significant support from volunteer scientists and community members. And whereas the Stanford NRI is consistent with the standards and guidance developed by the Hudson River Estuary Program and builds upon prior studies, including the Dutchess County NRI and other federal, state, and local data sources. And whereas draft versions of the NRI and the maps contained therein were presented for public review and comment, and input from residents, stakeholders, and experts was incorporated to ensure accuracy and local relevance. And whereas the incorporation of natural resource information into the town's decision-making process will assist Stanford in protecting the integrity and value of its soils, water resources, habitats, wildlife, farmland, and other significant natural resources, thereby supporting the long-term health, safety, and welfare of the community. And whereas the adoption of the NRI constitutes a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5C33, requiring no further review. Now therefore, be it resolved, the town board and the town of Stanford hereby approves and adopts the Stanford Natural Resources Inventory as dated September 11, 2025, as a comprehensive inventory of data identifying important natural resources within the town. Be it further resolved, it is the intent of the town board that the NRI shall serve as a valuable reference and planning tool for the town's boards, commissions, agencies, and residents. The NRI shall be used to inform the review of subdivision, site plans, special permit, and zoning applications, including during environmental review under SECRA, provide guidance in updating the town's comprehensive plan, open space planning, zoning, and other municipal policies, support conservation initiatives, stewardship of municipal lands, and public education on natural resources, and document current environmental conditions to allow assessment of changes over time. Be it further resolved, it is not at this time the intent of the town board, nor has the CAC recommended to adopt any recommendations by Hudsonia Limited contained in Appendix 1, Significant Habitats Report 2024 Update, or Appendix 2, Recommendations for Possible Revisions to CEA's Town of Stanford. Be it further resolved, the NRI shall be made available to the public via the town's website and kept on file with the town clerk. Copies shall be distributed to relevant town boards and commissions for regular reference, and the NRI shall be periodically updated no less frequently than every 10 years to reflect new data and conditions. Thank you.
Vote time.
Yes, ma'am.
Wendy Burton.
Yes.
Julia Dakota.
Yes.
Eric Hames.
Yes.
Nathan absent. Teddy Secor.
Yes.
You did it. You did it.
No, I don't have a second. Who made the motion to approve it? Wendy?
I made the motion, Julia.
And who seconded?
Julia.
Julia. Got it.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I was just so overwhelmed.
Bob, Burdick Park Environmental Assessment Form and Declaration of Lead Agency. Ball is in your court.
Okay, at the last meeting, the town board declared its intent to be lead agency for the Burdick Park project. And as part of that, we also need to get the consent or approval of other involved agencies that are involved in the process, which include initially the state DOT for a driveway permit or a highway permit for the apron that the state will need. It's the planning board of the town grants site plan approval, and there may other involved agencies may be the DEC and Army Corps of Engineers for some very small segments, small segment of federal wetlands. So as a first step in this, a short form EAF has been prepared, part 1, which identifies the project and includes a narrative description and a copy of the site plan, initial site plan, and that short form EAF, which has been circulated to the town board, I can go through that if you want me to, is basically something that the town board should accept, and then we'll circulate that to the other lead agencies, along with a lead agency notice and request that they consent to the town board being lead agency. And then, assuming we have all their consents, or if they don't respond, it'll be a waiver on their part. The town board can then consider the secret review and grant a negative declaration, presumably for this project, because we don't feel there are going to be any adverse environmental impacts. So we have a proposed resolution to be hopefully adopted today. Do you want me to read it?
Do you want me to read it?
However you want to go.
I guess
This is for adoption, for adoption of the short, part one of the short form EAF, and to authorize the sending of lead agency notices to the other involved agencies.
Rita, what
Looks like it's going to be D.
D? Okay. So resolution number, what month are we? 9D of 2025. Resolution of secret proceedings for the development of Burdick Park at a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Stanford held at the Town of Stanford Hall on September 11th, 2025. Town Supervisor Wendy Burton called the meeting to order, and she, seconded by Councilperson Eric Hames, moved the following resolution. Under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, for the development of Burdick Park. Whereas the Town of Stanford Town Board intends to develop Burdick Park, located on Huns Lake Road and identified as tax parcel, as a town park containing environmental and educational uses, and whereas the development of Burdick Park as an environmental and educational area is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas at its meeting on August 14th, 2025, the town board declared its intent to be lead agency for the purpose of seeker review, and whereas the town board has prepared part one of a short environmental assessment form, SEAF, pursuant to the requirements of 6 NYCRR Part 617, now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby determines that the action is an unlisted action under seeker and that a coordinated review will be conducted. And be it further resolved that the town board confirms its intent to serve as lead agency and approves part one of the SCAF, a copy of which is annexed to this resolution. And be it further resolved that the town shall circulate its notice of intent to act as lead agency, together with copies of Part 1 of the SEAF and associated exhibits to all involved and interested agencies. And be it further resolved that the town's supervisor is hereby authorized to execute any such documents and take any such lawful actions as she may deem convenient, necessary, or advisable in order to effectuate the foregoing resolution.
Second.
Eric?
Wendy Burton?
Yes.
Judy Dakota?
Yes.
Eric Hames?
Yes.
Nathan's absent. Teddy Secor?
Yes.
Oh. No, that's the battery storage moratorium. Okay. Okay, I do have a budget modification resolution, 9B of 2025.
Do number 3, please.
Motion to authorize.
Yeah, the DOT
I
driveway.
thought that was that was not part of the,
Bob wanted it separate.
Okay.
So here it is.
okay. I'll make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the DOT driveway permit for Burdick Park.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now I'll do the budget modification resolution.
Where does this get signed?
Whereas the town of Stanford has expenditures for the adopted 2024 general fund budget lines We don't have any highway lines. That will exceed the amount of fund available on these certain budget lines, and whereas the general fund has funds available on other lines and need to transfer such funds to provide for expenditures, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Stanford Town Board hereby amends and transfers from and to budget lines listed below for a fiscal year 2025. Geez. The the court's capital expenditures is over by $471.64. We're taking that from the town broadcasting line. The Justice Department's, this is kind of astonishing, but they're over $7,300 on their stamp line. They did a huge mailing to people who had not paid fines like in 150 years, but were still with us. So they used a lot of stamps. We got a lot of money back. I have broken that down into several lines. So to cover that expense, we're taking $2,000 from the auditor's 40 line, $2,000 from the assessors, $2,100 from the Haunted Fortress, $1,000 from celebrations, and $200 from the budget capital expense. I think that's at first, as far as stamp usage.
Should the 49 have a label?
It's,
Or no?
Yes,
It
Justice.
should. Okay.
it's the justice stamp.
That'll be added?
Yep.
Yeah. It looks strange, it's the only one without one.
Good catch.
Thanks.
The tax collector's capital expenditure line, 40 line, is over $259.17. So that's coming from the superintendent of highways 40 line. Unallocated insurance is over by $1,808.36. Public safety's 40 line, we're taking $1,000, and the veterans service 40 line, we're taking $808.36. So the amount of funds that we're moving around are $9,839.17.
Second.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Judy Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan absent, Eddie Secor.
Yes.
Budgeting is not an exact science. We are coming up against a hard deadline on our the moratorium for the large-scale energy storage systems. And the Zoning Commission has put in a great deal of time going to seminars, having speakers from NYSERDA come in and talk to us about the pros and cons of energy storage systems. My sense is, after all of the research that we've done, my sense is that the recommendation will be to not have them in this town, but we're not there yet. And so because of that, we are going to need to extend the temporary moratorium. And that is local law number 6. Bob, do you want to
Okay.
say anything more? Or?
No, this is being, this moratorium is a type 2 action, so it's not subject to seeker. And basically, the resolution just extends the 12-month moratorium for an additional 12 months, and it repeats the language of the moratorium that had been adopted last year.
Right. And I do not see any currency in reading this out loud. It will be attached to the minutes, and if anyone wants to read this.
It's on the website, too.
It's on the website.
So it needs to be moved and adopted.
I will move that we adopt, well, this is the introduction, we're also adopting it. I mean, don't we have to introduce it?
Adopt the resolution
Yes.
to introduce the local law, and then we have to have a public hearing, so you need to set a public hearing date, and
So this is Resolution 9C. and I move to adopt it. And we would have the public hearing in the October meeting.
Yeah.
What date is that, Rita?
It's the 9th.
The 9th? Okay. And set the public hearing date for October 9th.
I'll second that motion, by the way, and the adoption for the dates.
Okay, Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Hames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue absent, Teddy Secor.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those abstract numbers,
Yeah.
you sure those are correct? The general fund looks high to me.
73, 720.
You have
Oh,
83.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, 73.
12.1.
My mistake.
Yeah, the highway
73,
fund is-
720.
The highway. yeah.
Highway's 90.
Yeah,
That was a lot.
yeah.
Angle 992.
No, it was only the general
Okay,
fund
yeah,
which looked
sorry.
off to me. Okay. So, who said I don't have the head for I make a motion to approve the abstract number 9 for September. General funds were $73,720.35. Highway had another big month at $90,855.02. Angle lighting was $99268. Planning board escrow, $53,1750. Ambulance, as always, was $62,500. And the capital fund was $4,751.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have anything other under other? I don't think
Nope.
so.
Nothing.
No.
No other.
No other others?
Help the
Okay.
fortress out, that's big news.
Oh,
Help the fortress out, that's big news.
Every Saturday needs people.
It does, every Saturday.
Fridays and Sundays are filled. Every Saturday needs, none of them are taken
Wait, oh, you're talking about for the.
Ticket booth.
for the Fortress.
Oh, so we can pick a Saturday. We have one day and we're gonna do another night. Okay. Okay.
Oh, habitat stamps. What? My habitat stamps.
Oh, that's right. I need to make a big announcement. I'm sorry, Rita, I forgot. For the
That's okay.
second year in a row, Rita has come in number 8.
Yep.
Is this statewide?
Yep.
Statewide in selling habitat sales. Stamps. Rita is a soft sell, but she comes down like an, I don't know, velvet fist. Like,
Little upsell.
yeah, a little upset. Sorry, Rita, I can't imagine I actually forgot that. I'd like to open up the floor for second privilege of the floor, if anyone has something to say. Devo?
Yeah,
Yes, Devo.
I'm into veterans issues, as
Yes.
you probably know. Devo Martini, Shelley Hill Road. We have a veterans committee here, don't we?
No, we have
We
never
don't.
been, we have tried for 6 years to get people to volunteer to be on the Veterans Committee.
Was there, I heard a reference to funding veterans something. What was that, really?
We have a line in the budget for veterans causes.
The veterans causes.
Well, like like we could donate that money to to the Hudson Valley, the guys that come and talk to us.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but no, for 6 years, we've asked for volunteers. Never gotten.
Money goes into, in the budget, money goes into something for veterans causes, correct?
Correct. And every year, we hope we'll get a veterans committee.
Okay, well, I just wanted to clarify it so I
Yeah.
know what's going on with that.
And Devo, literally, if you could ever pull it together, I don't mean you pull it together, but if you could help form a veterans outreach committee, it would be a great service, because I swear, every year we've tried.
Okay.
That would
Thank
be
you.
great, thank you. Yes?
What is the clinic in?
Oh, you need to come up here. Sorry.
Ann Liebling, Quarter Way. What is the clinic in Pine Plains for veterans, I understand? What is that?
I think there's a, Devo. It's a VA.
Clinic for veterans.
Yeah.
For what?
It's a VA.
It's, what you can go there for meds, medication, they'll do ID cards, basic stuff. You need more than that, then you go to a place like that.
Yeah. Yes?
Hi, Mark D'Agostino, Ernest Road. I heard earlier that the $274,000 grant, we haven't gotten that in from the state. Of course, the state's always reluctant to part with any money. But it was paid for, the expenditures were paid for by donations, right? So I just need some clarification as to, New York State is going to reimburse us for donations? Because I understand the town has actually had the right to check. But has it been written in the grant that the state is going to reimburse us for donations, which have paid for these expenditures? It just doesn't make sense to me.
No, Mark, they're not reimbursing us for donations. They didn't care how we paid for what we paid for. They're reimbursing us for the grant amount that we were granted.
But
So they are they are giving us the money that they granted us.
Yeah, I understand, but when you write the grant, you have to, I'm assuming you have to go line by line with the expenditures. But donations have already paid for this.
Right, and so the grant doesn't care how you get the money. They encourage you to ask for donations because they understand that this is for rural towns like ours, this is a really big project. So they encourage us to do that. And they give us a certain amount of, when they reimburse us, it has to basically equal the amount that we said it was going to equal, which it did. The payments take time from the state because they require timesheets of all of the in-kind donations. They require all the receipts. All of that takes a lot of time to compile. The state might send it back, 2-3 times in terms of questions. You amend it. It's all part of the process. We've never gone through, this is the biggest grant we've gotten ever, $274,000 to put that incredible park up. So, and that's part of it. They held our hand every step of the way because they know it's quite unusual for a town like ours to go after something this big, and we're really proud of it.
And we made a commitment when we were redoing Spark Park to not use taxpayer dollars, so we raised it.
Zero.
Okay. Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, then what I will do is make a motion to adjourn, and we all have 45 minutes before the ceremony starts down at the bottom of the hill. And thank you all. Can I talk to you for a second, Frank?
Thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
always go look for that.
Knew you needed one.
Oh,